Okay, we're going to begin now a brand new mimer, Drushim the Succos of Shmini Atzeres, page 156 in Likkutei Torah. The Barmaskal Shaftamayim Besasas. 158 it is? 156, the first mimer, yeah. Okay, so this mimer was said by the Alter Rebbe Shmini Atzeres Taf Kuf Nun Tes. The nusach that we have is from the Hanachas of the Maharil. This mimer actually is a famous Hayim. And the Rebbe brings down that Tzemach Tzedek said in the year Taf Kuf Tzemach Tes, he heard from the Alter Rebbe the sixth time the mimer Ushafta Mayim, the first one in Likkutei Torah, and this was based on what the Gemara in the Yerushalmi says, Shemisham Sheyavim, that Yena Navi was Mekabel Simchas Beis She'eva from in a revealed Nevuah, and then we received in Seif, the safe that Mashiach will come. No, it's Tcholas Masif, and this is our mimer Hayim Yim in from Tes Zayin Tishrei, based on this mimer. Okay, so the pasuk says, "Ushaf the Mayim B'Sasem Ma'inei Yeshua." The Navi Yeshaya says that you should draw water with sasain, with happiness, Umi Ma'inei Yeshua, from the wells, from the depths, with salvation. Now, this pasuk is referring to that in addition to bring all the karbonis and the nisach hayayim that was on during the whole year, also Succos they would bring nisach hamayim, and we know the whole simcha that there was the night before. They would take the water and draw the water, and then they would have a whole simcha every night, and that's based on the Succos B'Sheva we have nowadays. So the pasuk says, "Ushaf the mayim b'sasin." When you draw this, it has to be b'sasin b'nei Yeshua with simcha. Now, see, it says in Parshas Pinchas, the pasuk says, "B'yem hashmini atzeres tiyeh lachem." That on the eighth day, atzeres is a few different interpretations, but it means that you should be held back. You should be atzeres tiyeh lachem. Pirush, what does that mean? The whole year they would bring on the mizbeach cows, rams, lambs, goats. And there was a fire, a heavenly fire that would come down on the mizbeach, and it had a resemblance of a crouching lion. So in addition to the Gemara Yuma says that in addition to the actual fire that the Yidden prepared on their own that had to come milmata, there's also a shamayla that was yered on the mizbeach that looked like a crouching lion. Now, what did this fire do? It consumed the karbonis. And on Succos, they would also pour the water as a libation on the mizbeach. And as the Mishnah in Sukkah says, that the Nisach HaMayim was all 7 days. However, Bayim Hashemini, on the 8th day, Atzeres Tiyeh Lachem, you should stop this, you should the chol apchinas alalu to all these pchinas. So the Alter Rebbe is going to explain Beruchnius what does it mean the avodah of nisach mayim, and what does it mean ach b'yem hashmini atzeres tiyeh lachem. The Alter Rebbe explains would be our Indian that to understand what's this concept. Nowadays we don't have the Beis Hamikdash or Mizbeach, so kol echad limtzei divrei chayfetz benafshi. People have to find, like the pasuk says, limtzei divrei chayfetz. People have to find something that's desirable in their nefesh. Now, what does that mean? To understand all these levels, all these different levels of the karbonis, and how does it affect Avodas Hashem? In every generation, a person has to obligate himself to look at these levels of fire, how it burns and it consumes the karbonis. In other words, Torah is internal. So if nowadays we don't have karbonis, obviously in avodah, the avodah of karbonis still apply. Parim ve'elim mekvasim. Pchinas nisach hamayim shebechag, and also the avodah of nisach hamayim. Pchinas yem hashmini, and also the yem hashmini shebe'atzer is called pchinas alalu, which all these avodas, they have either atzeres means it stops or has a culmination. Okay, we'll see exactly what that means. Okay, the Gemara in Bracha says, Tfilas Keneged, Timidin Tikrum, that there's a machlekes of why we, the Shachas Mincha Ma'ariv, what is a Keneged? So one of the opinions says that tefillah is keneged the karbonis that we brought every day. What does that mean? What does it mean, the avodah of the heart? The Gemara in Taina says this is tefillah. And the heart corresponds to the mizbeach. Now, is just like in the actual Beis Hamikdash, there was two mizbeachs. You have the primi v'chitz, and you have the inner and the outer mizbeach. Kachish b'leiv beis p'china. So too in the heart, you have two levels as well. So we're saying that the heart is the mizbeach, and just like in the mizbeach, you have two mizbeachs. So to the heart, there's two levels. You have the chitzenis halev, u'primi halev kaneda. You have the heart, the inner part of the heart, and the outer part of the heart. Okay, let's skip the brackets. Huh? Why is the heart considered the mizbeach? Doesn't say why, but he brings a marmuk over here. The parshas Sav. I don't know. To look up there. Fine. Now, ukishem shahayu makrivna al mizbeach hachitzin. Okay, let's go to the brackets. Okay, ukishem shahayu makrivna al mizbeach hachitzin kol karbonis, and just like they would bring the karbonis on the mizbeach hachitzin, what would they bring? Porim ve'elam ukvasim, these different karbonis. Hachtzadach ve'ef kol echad b'tfilasi le'iris ha'ava tivis b'libay. So too, a person by davening has to arouse his natural love in his heart, which is which is the external part of the heart. That it should consume, it should have a burning fire in a revealed heart. And this is the level of the heavenly fire that comes down like a crouching lion, which burns the karbonis. So that's the first part of the avodah. The first avodah is chitzenis halev. What does it mean? Chitzenis halev means that by davening you have to arouse your avativis, which is the chitzenis halev, which it should become revealed. And what do you do with that? You reveal the heart that the fire should come down and to burn the karbonis. Now, what does that mean? Well, then of Succos, and this is like what the Navi in Hosea says. You should go after Hashem. You should like a roaring lion. What does that mean? This is the love that the Yid has by remembering Hashem, which means that he does not want to be separated from Hashem. What does the pasuk say? That Hashem is Eish Eichla, who is a fire. Eish Eichla Eish. And as the Gemara says, that fire consumes fire. Seder from Mechala is called Ha'ishim Ashalel Hashem Hema. So what does the fire mean? The fire means that by davening, a person has to arouse his heart that it should burn all the things which is Leila Hashem Hema, which is not for Hashem. Hanikra B'Shem, which is called B'Shem Eish Zara, which is called a foreign fire. And the fire should be only to Hashem. That's why the Gemara tells us the halacha is that you're not allowed to eat. It's the Gemara in Brachos, and Shulchan Aruch says that a person is not allowed to eat before davening. Why not? Why can a person? So al pi halacha, you're not allowed to eat before davening. We all know because the first thing is a person has to daven to Hashem. However, al pi chassidus, what's the reason why a person can't eat before davening? Since he wants to eat, thank you very much. Since he wants to eat something like, let's say, for example, bread. So, so if a person wants to eat the bread, he really has to be at a level which is higher than the bread. Why? Because the extra mile that he has, so since a Yid, or a person, since it's at a higher level in the bread, so that's why it's befitting for him to rule over it and to eat it. Now, but since he is now in a state of before davening, he still did not burn all the extras with the Eishal Maila, and he's very connected to his Dagas Parasa. So what's going to happen is, if a person before davening, since he's at a low state, he's still thinking about Dagas Parnasa, and he's connected with the lower Madrigas of Gashmis. So what's going to happen is, how you shove Madriga ala lechem, Asher Eichel, so he's going to fall now to the Madriga of the bread. So it's going to defeat the purpose. The only reason why a person is allowed to eat bread is because he's higher than the bread. But if he's going to be at the same level of the bread, so then the bread is going to overcome him. That's why a person is not allowed to work before davening, because it's the same thing. Fine. And this is the Aveda of davening. Listing Daigas HaParnasa, to burn the Daigas HaParnasa. And just like they would burn on the Mizbeach, they burn the flour and wheat for the Menachos. So what does that mean? In Aveda, that means you have to burn the Daigas HaParnasa. You have to take out the Daigas HaParnasa. Now, v'loi inyan HaParnasa atzma, ki tzricha, not the idea of Parnasa, because everybody needs Parnasa. The Torah says, and David HaMelech writes in Tehillim, it's good to work. There's Parnasa to work, and then there's the Daigas HaParnasa. But the actual worry that a person is worried about Parnasa the whole day, we say this is from the foundation of fire, from the Nefesh B'amis, which is a foreign fire. What does a person have to do? He has to burn this fire. So we explained in Aleph that we said in order to understand, we don't have a Mizbeach nowadays. We don't have a Beis HaMikdash nowadays. So what's the Aveda of burning? What does burning karbonos mean? What does it mean to be Seif the Eish Mamayla? So it explains that just like in the heart, you have two levels of the heart. Just like the heart, which corresponds to the Mizbeach, and then in the Mizbeach you had the Pnimi and the Chitzin. So the Pnimi is the Chitzin and the Mizbeach that brought all their karbanos over there. What does that mean? In Aveda, it means that a person has to burn all the Eish Zara, he has to burn all the things which are not for Hashem. And that's why it says before you're not allowed to eat before davening, you're not allowed to work before davening, because the only reason why you're allowed to eat bread is because you're higher than the bread. What gives us the right to eat food is because we're higher than the food. Now, when are we higher than the food? That's after davening, after we did the Aveda. But before davening, we're basically at the same level of the bread. And if we're at the same level of the bread, and so the bread will overcome us, and it's a problem. So that's the Aveda of Tefillah, is to burn the Daigas HaParnasa. Working, that's Yigei Kapecha Kisech Ashrecha. For the Daiga, that comes from the Sid Eish, from the Nefesh B'Hamish, and that's the Aveda, is to burn that away. Okay. Base. Okay. Gemara tells us in Yuma, the Alpha Pisha that even though Hashem every day would send a fire min Hashemayim, mitzvah lahav min ahediyut, there's still a mitzvah to bring from the regular, that the Yidden had to have their own fire in the Mizbeach. As in order to that the Eish Mamayla should come down, it should be radio, so they would make a fire from the Hedjit. They had to make a keli, right? Now, what does it mean in Aveda? Having means Aveda Hashem. To understand this, in Aveda Hashem, Hashem is called he plants tzedakos, umatzmiach yeshuos, and he also plants salvations, like we say every day in the Yitzhak. Zerei tzedakos umatzmiach yeshuos. Now, what does it mean? Hashem is zerei tzedakos umatzmiach yeshuos. Being that you've been back to Mashakos, we'll understand this by first what Shloimy HaMelech writes in Shirashirim. Smoiloi tachas l'reishi. My left hand is under my head. V'yaminoi, and with the right hand tesapkeni, I hug you. Now, what does that mean? Smoiloi tachas l'reishi v'yamini techapkeni. The right hand I hug you. Birish, what does that mean? V'yamini techapkeni. With the right hand he hugs you. Shenimshov kol kach pinas chesed. That he draws down the level of chesed yamino, which is the right, v'yamin mekarev, so we know that the right hand is mekarev, called the tzutzis, v'chon neshamas Yisrael, that with the right hand, chesed, that is mekarev, all the tzutzis and neshamas Yisrael, is miyichad, Hashem yochadim yochad, to come one with Hashem. Kidiksiv, like it says in Tehillim, Am Kerevei, the nation which is close. Until the neshama comes in a way of hugging, Like a person who hugs his friend that can't separate from him. So too, the Avodah of Yemini Techavcheni, that these galus of the Avarabba comes to Hashem. You don't want to separate from Hashem. So it's a very nice, very high level of Ava. How does a person get this Ava? So in order to get the Yemini Techavcheni, to get this Avarabba to Hashem, that you don't want to be separated from Hashem, so you have to have the achana of Smoile Tachas L'Reishi. You have to have which is the Aveda of Smel Deicha. You push away with the left. Pirush, what does that mean? Shedeicha Umash plus Adam. You push away the person. Asher Yosim Alibai. V'yamik Daiktim Mashafte. When a person thinks and contemplates in his heart, Yeshu Rochim Hashem Tachas Hashem, how he is very distant from Hashem. Kiyetz Be'elu Onyonim. Asher Kol Zen Nimshach Misitra the Smoile Kaneda. So this all comes from the left side. Not Chas Hashem that from Hashem himself that he pushes away people. Why? Because we know the Navi says no Jew will ever be pushed away. No Jew will be left behind. But when he contemplates into this, how he's very distant from Hashem. So what's going to happen is so then it will descend to the level of Tachas L'Reishi. What does that mean, Pirush? When I bring this level down to my head, that I contemplate and I think about it very, very deeply, I myself will push away from my level. You see, in the beginning, you thought very, very highly of yourself, and you think you're all up there. So what does that mean? What does it mean? That you bring this left, you bring it under the reishi, which means that you realize how distant you are from Hashem, and you think about it very, very deeply, and you're pushing away in the beginning why you held so highly of yourself. This is why the Razal set up all the videos by Yom Kippur, Shemisvadim, Al Nafsha V'Imrim. What do we say? We say Sararnu, Tiavnu, that we sin, that we Tiavnu, Keitzabahem. What are we saying? Shemashpila is Aspal of Nekadosh Baruch Hu Me'ed, that we push ourselves down and we make ourselves very low in front of Hashem. V'Imrim, we say Shehem Rechakim Me'ed Mimeni Baruch, how distance we are from Hashem. V'Heineim Advan Ma'Edim Es'aba Tzimei Elivis Baruch Shukosei. And with this is ma'ir the person a thirst to Hashem. And through this, then you can have the Avarabba of Chag HaSukkos. So basically, the Smeil Tachas L'Reishi Yemini Techavcheni is the Avodah of Smeil Tachas L'Reishi. That's Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, or really I should say Yom Kippur. So, but in order to get the Yemini Techavcheni, in order to get the Avarabba, this level of Avarabba that you love to Hashem and you don't want to separate from Hashem, you have to have the achana of Smeil Tachas L'Reishi, the avodah of putting yourself down and realizing how distant you are from Hashem, and then you can go to the level of Yemini Techavcheni. Okay, and this is what it means that he plants tzedakos. Eden are called in the level of tzedakah. Hashem HaPasuk, as the pasuk says in Yeshaya, but tzedakah to kainani. So the Yidden are called tzedakah. And as we know, the Yidden down over here are full of tzedakah and chesed. So the Yidden are called tzedakah. What's the avodah of Aser Semei Tshuva? That's the avodah of zriya, of planting. Now, kikmoy hagarin shezerin tzarech l'zriya al gabi ofer shenechlesh heitiv. So just like when you plant a seed, you have to sow the offer, you have to plow it very well. Ashenkin offer kosha, if you have very hard soil, it won't plant at all, it won't grow at all. So kach kol ha-mitzvah is so too in regards to the mitzvah, stock of v'chesed shisha oisin. Masad and kolim beis hashana, so too in regards to all the stockas that he does throughout the year. And So tzedakah is like the seed that you're planting, so nothing will grow. When they ask the pri l'mayla, nothing will happen. It has to be through the avodah of aseres mitzvah, shemeshavim mislibam, that you break your heart for doichin, umashbas atzmim ka'ofar shenechresh, and you put yourself down like the dust which is plowed. That's charisha, which is the level of plowing. And marpe aro, which you make the Gemara, like Rashi says on Shabbos, that you make the land very, very soft. Okay, a person doesn't really give tzedakah unless he makes himself like dust. If a person thinks of himself, if a person thinks about his parnasa and thinks he won't really give anything besides for some grushas. Why? A person's not going to go give away what he worked very, very hard for. A person has to go and break his taivas and his arrogance very strongly. And he has to think, how does tzedakah work? Why is a person generous? Because he thinks it's not my money, it's the Eibishter's money, or it's his money, I'm just a shliach. But if a person thinks that I'm working so hard for my money, and how can I give away my money, so then he'll never give anything. Why? As the Gemara says, my chaz is the dami didach, sumak ketfei. There's three avedas, right? Yarig val yaver, shvichas damim, gila rayis, and aveda zara. So the Gemara says, in regards to aveda zara and gila rayis, makes a little sense. There's psukim. Shvichas damim, it's a svara. Why? So the Gemara says, because you think to yourself, why is your blood? No, what gives you the right to kill the person? Why are you greater than him? Why is your blood redder than his blood? So same thing also in regards to tzedakah, you think to yourself, why are you greater than the other person? Because you have the money in your bank account. You have what to eat. So when a person thinks to himself that I'm just a shliach of the Eibishter, that tzedakah was given to me to give to share with other people, that he doesn't really think of himself greater than the other person. So then he can give tzedakah freely. But if not, then he won't give it away. Okay, we'll continue Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow.